Welcome to this new video. I am the PC Collector and today I am bringing you the second episode of the Retro Reviews, featuring this time a machine which is the complete opposite of the one featured in the first review. Today I'm bringing the Compaq Armada 1750, which is literally the opposite of the ThinkPad 560. We are moving from an ultra portable to another concept which became very popular in the late 90s, the desktop replacement. You know, in the middle 90s it was common that notebooks had all the same size, the same everything, and if you wanted to use it as a substitute for a desktop machine, you then have to pair them with bulky and unwieldy and fairly unpractical docking stations to bring their full potential. In the late 90s, that changed when more home users became interested in computers and laptops became something more common outside offices. And then is when the desktop replacement came into the scene. Those heavy, bulky and wieldy machines were meant to rest over a desk and only occasionally be moved and used as a portable workstation rather than as a standard notebook, and usually feature very powerful CPUs, possibility for a reasonable amount of upgrades and modifications, and some even packing powerful capable GPUs which enable the use of any software which require hardware 3D acceleration. Not only because some productivity usages were increasingly demanding the usage of hardware 3D, but also because a lot of users which bought them for their homes said, hey, I'm spending a lot on a computer, so I might as well have fun. Yes, the mobile workstations were the, we could say, precursors of what today we know as gaming laptops. In the late 90s, most people agreed that IBM ThinkPads were like the best you could aspire to. But there were very close contenders in the form of the Compaq Armada series. This unit is from spring 1999 and it's a very powerful machine, which of course is the least you can expect from a machine this big. You can see the bulky machine with a huge 13-inch screen, which was an absolute oddity at the time. This machine weighs around 3.5 kilograms or 11 pounds if you are watching this from the other side of the Atlantic, and is massive in all the regards. Besides the unusual big screen, it also features a very unusual trait, which is having both the floppy drive and the CD-ROM drive to the front to mimic more how those were placed in a desktop machine, reinforcing the concept of the desktop replacement. And also it has a very uncommon trait at the time, which is the USB port placed at the side rather than at the back of the machine for easier access in case you need to plug something when the machine is running. Now back at the machine itself, the Armada 1750 was offering 4 trims which were essentially the same. They essentially only differ in the speed of the CPU, the size of the hard drive, and in some rare cases the size of the screen, but that is a rare variant. All the machines feature a Pentium 2 CPU, ranging from 300 MHz to 400 MHz, 64 megabytes on board plus one slot which allowed memory modules up to 128 megabytes for a total of 192 megabytes max, which was a fairly big amount. In fact, the base memory is more than the average desktop of the time had, so it's a fairly good level of memory. It features the 80 Rage LT video card, which is one of the earliest, if not the earliest, implementation of such card in a laptop, making it a very capable machine when it comes to things requiring hardware 3D acceleration. It'd be image edition, video edition, or yes, also games. There might be earlier implementations of that card in laptops, but I personally haven't managed to find any. So if you know any earlier implementation of that card into a laptop, just let me know. It also features a touchpad, which it was starting to be common at the time, and has two PCMC slots, which you have seen under the USB port. This machine also has an Ultra Bay here on the bottom, which is by default. The machine had a floppy drive on it, that's the stock configuration, but you can also optionally have a second battery, a second hard drive, a zip drive, or an LS 120 unit that I honestly don't know what that is, or at least I don't know it with that name. It's possible that I have seen them before, but I don't associate it with the name of the device. The only problem of this machine is, well, the size. You have seen the size of the machine. I mean, it's... Yes, this is my hand size to size, so you can see the thickness of the machine, and yeah, it's a heavy, bulky machine. It's not mean by any means to be a machine that you carry from one place to another in a daily basis. It's meant to be sitting on a desktop and be used as a mobile workstation. All of them came from factory with Windows 95 with the option of having NT4 installed instead. Although they release drivers for Windows 98 and Windows 2000, and both of them are fully support. Wow. No time to get it started. I don't know which operating system this machine had from factory, because by the time I got it the hard drive was pretty much dead. But I decided to install Windows 98, which, given the specs of the machine, seemed like the best option for it. I did upgrade it to 128 megabytes of RAM, and well, although for some reason it's not displaying the speed, I don't know why it's not displaying the speed. This machine has the 366 MHz CPU. The Rage LT Pro card, which is very good video card for a laptop this time. And well, the typical ESS audio drive sound card, which is pretty standard. I do have... Don't I have... I didn't install Erased on this machine. As a curiosity, this machine can use a 127 gigabyte hard drive. Weird. Okay, it's no problem. Or my pen drives. Fortunately, today it's possible to make USB drives to work on Windows 98. And I have this little thing here, which you might know. So let's get it running and see what it says. Well, I'd say not bad, considering that it's an OpenGL test, which is clearly not designed for machines like this. So yeah, so I'm gonna change that background because I'm seeing on the screen of the camera that it doesn't really work. It's very dark. So let's go for the default green. Well, inform is ready. Yeah, all information. It's a definitely very good performance on the memory side, considering how old the machine is. And on the CPU side is well, pretty much the expected. Just slightly above the K6. Not the bad results. Let's see what those CPU set have to say. Yes, I'm going to run it from here. So it's pretty much what we expected. What's curious is that it's an ATI, but it doesn't detect the model. Let's see what's the closest CPU. We have to this. Let's see. I'd say it's probably going to be the closest. The K62 is going to be the closest we have. Yeah, well, not surprising considering that we are pulling a 500 MHz CPU against a 366 one, so yeah. Here you can see the difference with a Pentium MMX. Yeah, we don't really have a good reference for this CPU. So, if you're looking for a retro machine, is this an interesting option? Well, if you ask me, it definitely is a very interesting option. It has a powerful CPU, a powerful GPU. When I featured this machine in my other series, I even tested some late 90s games, which very satisfactory results. You can check the video here if you want. I tested among others. I tested Half-Life and other similar era games with a very satisfying performance by the GPU. Yeah, if you're looking for a retro machine to run on late 90s software, this machine is definitely a very solid option. It features a big, good quality screen. It features a powerful CPU. It features a more than capable GPU, in case you need a 3D acceleration. I mean, this machine doesn't fall very far from the best you could buy in April of 1999 when this machine was put for sale. So yeah, it's definitely a very solid machine, although there's a few things you have to consider if you plan to get one of those. First, well, I'm going to shut it down. First thing is that despite what it might seem and how they are level, the actual power on button is this, not this. I don't know why Compaq did this, but they did it anyways. Second thing you have to take into account is how most of the internals are accessed. This machine, you know, if you have been following the other series, you'll probably be aware that I have a relationship of hate and love with Compaq machines, and that is because of the solutions they use. Sometimes they are completely idiotic, and sometimes they are absolutely brilliant, like it is the case of this machine. But because if you see here, they have those two things that you press like this, that will release the keyboard, and you have everything which can be serviced in this machine is just over there. No other fuss, no other problems. This is one of the easiest to service 19th laptop I ever seen. You have here the memory upgrade, which features one free slot you can use to upgrade the memory. This is the RTC battery, and loosening those two screws, you free the CD-ROM drive in case you need to replace it. Although I must warn you that the computer is very picky with which optical drives it admits. I tried to replace it and it didn't exactly work well. Fortunately, it turned out that the problem of this unit was only a dirty lens, so I solved it by cleaning it. The only thing which is not accessed through the keyboard is the hard drive, which is behind this cover, that you only have to lose this screw and then you take the cover in a pretty easy way. It's convenient to mention that both the DVD drive and the hard drive require a caddy to be connected. You can't plug them directly to the machine. You need a caddy which is placed in between the machine and the drive themselves. Also, it's worth mentioning that, like all the Armadas and most all other Compaqs, the setup utility is placed on the hard drive. So if you buy one with a dead unit, you'll need the BIOS utility floppy to configure and restore the partition. Also, you have noticed that I unplugged this directly from the back. This machine doesn't have an external power supply. It has an internal one, and it's plugged directly to an outlet using one of those cables. This is pretty much what I can tell you about this machine. It's a very interesting machine. The lack of portability is not a real problem, because chances are that any machine of those you can find is going to have a dead battery. So yeah, portability was always out the board, but it is a very, as I said already, a very solid machine, and one you can rely on if you want to get a late 90s retro machine. This is definitely a very solid choice, because it's a machine which is probably not going to excel at anything, but be good enough for any use. And to be absolutely honest, probably a GPU, if you want a dedicated retro gaming machine, you'll probably need to harvest a kidney to get a video card better than the one this machine has anyways. Yeah, but because we will be talking about the absolutely overpriced voodoo cards, so yeah. One final consideration is that I've mentioned that you can use SSD drives and M.2 to IDE adapter, and the machine will have no problem recognizing it. Is the latest implementation of the Super 8 bus with the best implementation of the LBA modes, so you won't have any problem. However, if you use a drive bigger than 127 GB, the machine will use only that part of the drive and ignore the rest, as it's convenient that you know that, in case so you don't spend more than necessary on a drive. Well, that's all. I hope that you have liked this review, and I hope to see you on the next one.